You know that feeling, right? You're talking to an AI and you just know you're one phrase away from unlocking its full potential. Like there are some magic words that'll get you the perfect answer. Well, guess what? You're not wrong. Today, we're diving into the science of finding those magic words, not by guessing, but by teaching the AI to find them for itself.
Just look at the difference here. On the left, a simple prompt. Summarize this article. And what you get back is, well, it's a generic rambling mess. Now look at the right, a master prompt, one that specifies the audience, the focus, the format. It delivers a short, actionable summary. The difference is absolutely night and day. And this right here is the core problem. The quality of what we get out of an AI is almost totally dependent on the quality of what we put in.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to dig a little deeper into that prompt problem. Then, we get to the really cool part, automating this whole creative process. We'll explore two totally fascinating approaches I'm calling the trainer and the editor. After that, we'll look at the hard data to see how they stack up, and we'll wrap up by talking about what all this means for the future of how we talk to AI. And this is where the frustration really kicks in for so many of us. Crafting those perfect prompts by hand, what people call prompt engineering, is a total grind. It's just hours and hours of trial and error, a process that feels way more like an unpredictable art than a repeatable science. And hey, don't just take my word for it. The researchers behind these breakthroughs state it plainly. Even the most powerful large language models, the engines behind tools like ChatGPT, are still heavily dependent on us humans to manually spell out the right instructions to get the job done. But what if we could just flip this whole dynamic on its head? Instead of us trying to guess what the AI wants to hear, what if the AI could figure out the best way to understand us? This is the huge idea behind a field called automatic prompt engineering. Automatic prompt engineering, or AP for short, is a total game changer. The whole idea is to build systems that do the heavy lifting for us, automatically finding and publishing the best possible prompts for any task you can think of. The goal here is to take all that human guesswork out of the equation and get better, more consistent, and way more powerful results every single time. So to really understand how this works, we're going to dive into two recent research papers that have brilliant but really different philosophies on how to get this done. Think of them as two distinct paths leading to the same treasure, the perfect prompt. All right, let's head down our first path. This method is called stable prompt, and I like to think of it as the trainer. It uses a powerful technique from AI called reinforcement learning to basically coach another AI into becoming an expert prompt writer. Seriously, imagine training a world-class athlete through thousands of reps, rewarding them for what works and correcting them when they miss. That's pretty much what's happening here. This diagram gives us a great look at that training process. You've got one AI, the agent, on the left. That's our trainee. It creates a prompt and sends it over to a second AI, the target, in the middle. The target then tries to do something with that prompt, and depending on how well it does, a reward signal gets sent back to the agent, telling it either awesome job or nope, try again. It's just this relentless, powerful feedback loop. Let's break this loop down. Step 1. The agent generates a prompt. Think of this as our trainee taking a swing at the ball. Step 2. The target takes that prompt and tries to do the task. Step 3. A reward score gets calculated. This is the coach's feedback. Was it a home run or a total strike? And finally, Step 4. Based on that score, the agent's own programming gets updated, so it gets just a little bit smarter for the next round. But here's the real secret sauce that makes stable prompt so good. During this super intense training, there's a risk the AI could get weird. It could start generating nonsensical prompts, kind of like an athlete who overthinks their technique and forgets the basics. So the system uses what's called an anchor model that acts like a safety net, making sure the agent learns new prompting skills without losing its core intelligence. Pretty clever. Okay, so that was the trainer, fast, repetitive, all about that instant reward. Now for our second path, the editor. Instead of that rapid-fire feedback, this method, called reprompt, acts more like a meticulous editor working on a novel. It doesn't just look at one sentence, it reads entire chapters, reviewing whole conversations to find patterns and suggest improvements. And this diagram shows us exactly how this editor approach works. On the left, you see entire conversation histories being fed into the system. These get passed to another AI called a summarizer, which acts like a proofreader, spotting common problems. Then a prompt optimizer AI takes those findings and literally rewrites the original prompt to fix those issues at the source. So the cycle for our editor looks like this. First, the AI just acts. interacting with real users out in the world. Second, after it has a bunch of these conversations, the summarizer puts on its detective hat. It analyzes everything to find recurring problems, like, hey, the AI consistently misunderstands when people talk about budgets. Third, the optimizer steps in like a skilled writer, taking that feedback and rewriting the base prompt to be much clearer and more effective. And this right here is the secret weapon of the editor approach. Reprompt can learn and improve without ever needing a final correct or incorrect grade. It learns from the journey, not just the destination. This is a huge deal for complex, real-world tasks where there isn't one single right answer. So while the trainer is amazing for tasks with clear win-loss conditions, the editor really shines in those messy, gray areas of human conversation. So we have our two contenders, the high-intensity trainer and the reflective editor. Two powerful but very different philosophies. Now for the million-dollar question, do they actually work better than a human? Let's look at the data. Okay, check this out. These are the results for Stable Prompt. A skilled human writing prompts by hand, they got about 65% accuracy. Not bad. Some of the older automated methods bumped that up to 70%. But look at Stable Prompt. With its training loop and that clever anchor model, it soared to over 76%. That's not just a little better. That is a significant leap in performance. Now let's switch over to Reprompt, which was tested on a really hard travel planning task. The original method, without this editing process, had a success rate of just under 3%. But after 5 epochs, which are just cycles of this review and rewrite process, Reprompt boosted that success rate to almost 4%. Now, I know that might not sound like a huge jump, but in these incredibly complex tasks, that's a more than 40% relative improvement. That's a massive gain, just from making the initial instructions better. The verdict from both of these studies is just undeniable. Whether it's the intense training of Stable Prompt or the thoughtful editing of Reprompt, automatic prompt engineering isn't just a minor tweak. It is a massive upgrade, one that significantly outperforms even skilled human effort and unlocks a whole new level of performance from our AIs. And this all leads us to a much, much bigger idea, the future of how we talk to technology. I mean, if we no longer have to spend our time trying to speak the AI's language, what does that open up for us? Really, the ultimate goal behind all of this research can be summed up with this simple idea. We want to make the AI adapt to us, not the other way around. We shouldn't have to become prompt engineers. We should just be able to say what we mean, and the AI should be smart enough to figure out the rest.
So what does this actually mean for you and me? Well, it means the AI tools we use every day are going to become more reliable and way more powerful. It means less time spent frustrated trying to guess those magic words. It tears down the barrier to entry, making this incredible technology accessible to everyone, not just the experts. And ultimately, it points to a future where our AI partners understand our true intent, not just the literal commands we type into a box.
And that leaves us with one last, pretty fascinating question to think about. What happens when this technology gets so good that our AI assistants can figure out what we truly mean, maybe even better than we can articulate it ourselves? What new possibilities does that unlock?